Good evening. Welcome to Take a Spiritual Journey. I'm Reverend Robin Volker, coming to you for the fifth time from my home studio, and I am so grateful to have you on this journey with me. The topic tonight is the value of friendship, spiritual friendship to be exact. This series of inspiration is taken from an old Unity textbook called The Quest that was written by Reverends Richard and Mary Alice Jafala in the 1990s. Good old basic spiritual truths. So, let's talk about friendship. Have you ever had a withered plant that needed to be repotted? And once you placed it in a new pot and new soil with fresh nutrients, it revitalized the plant and brought it back to life. I have a plant that could use my attention right now. Actually, if I'm honest, I have a few plants that are just clamoring to have their spring repotting done. I have a deep relationship with my plants. Some of them I have had for decades. And I actually have one plant of my mother's Christmas cactus, actually Thanksgiving cactus, that is almost as old as I am. We can learn a lot from our plants. Perhaps you too feel like that you need to be repotted, placed in new soil. Maybe you feel like you've outgrown the container that you have been living in. Well, it's time for you to find some ways to help stimulate your growth and to help you to bloom right where you are planted. As we grow in awareness and in emotional and spiritual maturity, we may, and we probably will, find that our lives as we knew them, the container of our lives, so to speak, will no longer be so effective for us. Now, I'm not an advocate for change's sake, but change for the promotion of healthy growth, well, that's a different matter. We often look to the people in our circles for support when we want to grow, either emotionally or spiritually. But the people that are in our circles, the people that we have hung out with for long periods of time in our lives, they may not be equipped to help us once we make a commitment to our spiritual journey. And this is one reason why people actually don't grow. They may feel the call within themselves to grow, but they recognize that if they grow and change, it's going to change the relationships that they have. And they would rather stay uncomfortable in the relationships that they know than to grow and possibly have to change relationships. If you've been feeling a nudge in your life to make change, creating new spiritual friends can be of great benefit to you. It can help you to find your roots and to start to grow in your awareness. Supportive friends allow us the safety and the encouragement to go into the areas of unknown, to explore the deep recesses of our minds, to ask ourselves questions that we may not get the answer to, but the questioning itself can be very stimulating. It's like the fresh soil to the withered plant. In a previous talk, we talked about the what we are. We are both physical and spiritual. We have a personality and we have an individuality. The individuality is the God part of us, it's the spirit of us. We individually express out the qualities of God, the divine part of us. And the divine individuality of you is like a little spiritual seedling, just wee tiny. But yet the spiritual potential of you is like a giant, fully grown adult oak tree, deeply rooted in the earth. But what you can see and feel, perhaps today, at this point on your journey, is just that little spiritual seedling. This spiritual journey that we have undertaken during the great pandemic social distancing event is leading us down a road of discovery. And spiritual seedlings need support. And that's why I wanted to talk about spiritual friendship tonight. Just like a plant seedling, your growth needs sheltering from the storms of pessimism that you may be facing in your life. This pessimism may be coming from well-meaning friends and family, people who don't understand that you've heard a call for a spiritual journey. They don't mean to hurt you. They really want what's best for you. But they see and experience you changing, and they really don't know what to think about that or what to do about that. Not that they need to do anything, but they may feel they need to do something. People don't like other people to change. It's like if you change the steps in a dance, then your partner may not be able to dance with you anymore. As you say yes on your spiritual journey and yes to your spiritual growth, it's important to have support of like-minded people in your life. These people are eager to help you and to support you. And these people have been where you are right now, growing on your spiritual journey. Your journey is your journey. It's a solo trip. No one can take the walk for you. You are the one who must be willing to walk down the path to a higher, greater, more spiritual, divine experience for yourself. And you may need, you probably will need, we all need encouragement, inspiration, and prayer support as we go along our growth path. As seedlings, we're fragile. It's easy to be swayed this way or that way, and even to be uprooted, especially if you're new to these teachings. And the more that you grow in spiritual awareness, the deeper your roots go, and the stronger you get. The inner strength that you develop over time with your commitment to your spiritual journey means that you won't be blown around by the events and circumstances of the world, that you can stand firm in your faith. The invitation today is to make a commitment to direct your energy in your spiritual growth, to make a commitment to direct your energy in your spiritual growth, to choose activities that are spiritually rewarding and that can help you attain higher levels of spiritual awareness and understanding. Be especially careful to not squander your creative energy on negative people. And right now, in this pandemic, there are a lot of negative people, and there is a lot of negative fear out in the world. Aside from the fear that's generated by the pandemic, you may also encounter people who don't understand that you feel that you've been called on a spiritual journey. Everyone doesn't hear that call. I believe the call goes out to everyone, but everyone doesn't hear it. And some of the people in your circles may be downright disapproving of your efforts to better and to change your life. So let's talk about spiritual support group. What would that look like? Jesus taught us, where two or more are gathered in my name, there I am in the midst. Where two or more are gathered in my name, there I am in the midst. That's Matthew 18:20. It's one of my favorite scriptures, and I use it almost every time that I pray with other people. Because when we are calling forth Jesus into the midst of our prayer experience, we are calling forth the qualities that Jesus embodied, the qualities of the divine. It's so comforting to know that we're not on this journey alone. We need help and we need support. And when we are this spiritual seedling and we feel alone and insecure, we feel weak and scared, but together we are strong. Captain Eddie Rickenbacker was a famous World War II pilot, and his plane crashed in the Pacific after he and his crew had been on a special mission. He and his crew were lost at sea for 21 days. I want to pause right here and ask you to think about that. Now, you may have been sheltering in place for 21 days, or maybe longer than that. But can you imagine being on like life rafts or fragments of a plane in the middle of the open ocean for 21 days? It boggles my mind to think about what that experience must have been. Captain Rickenbacker wrote about his experience when he returned, and he said that in the beginning, some of the men were atheists and some were agnostics. Not all of them were men of faith. But by the end of the terrible ordeal, each man in his own way had made a connection with God. Each man found his own inner relationship with the divine. And a community of feeling developed, which created a liveliness in their human fellowship and their communal existence during that crisis. Remember, this group of men was not a spiritual group of their choosing. This was a group of men that had been thrown together by the challenges of war. And during their tragic, life-threatening circumstances, they had to learn to rely on each other, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. I can only imagine what it must have been like to have been a part of this group. Not having enough food or water to physically survive, each man had to face his own inner demons, his own deepest fears, and his own mortality. And together, they created a safe and sacred spiritual community to support each other to survive. Don't you know that those men most assuredly took comfort from the aforementioned scripture? Wherever two or more are gathered, the Christ would be in the midst. And I am sure that each of them felt the Christ presence in his or her own way. When you and I gather in spiritual community, we know and affirm that the attributes we're calling forth are going to make us more aware. They're going to deepen our experience and help us to be better humans expressing the divine. There's great power in the group experience. 10 college students were individually given an intelligence qualifying test. And the average test score was 113, a little above average. Then a similar test was given to the students, but this time they were all allowed to be in a group with the questions projected on a screen, and they were able to collaborate their answers so that each one could support the other, and then they only gave one answer. This time, the end score was 145. Isn't that amazing? If one person didn't know the answer on the individually given test, then he or she lost credit for not knowing. But in the group experience, what one person didn't know, someone else had the opportunity to know. And it raised the intelligence of the group by being together. In much the same way, a spiritual group will supplement your spiritual learning. There may be times along your spiritual journey that you feel discouraged or that you're not moving forward. It's like your journey has plateaued and you've kind of run out of steam. If you're in spiritual group or spiritual community and you have spiritually minded friends, they will help raise you up during those times. Someone in the group will still be chugging forward, and their momentum will help carry you, help restart you back on your spiritual track. The group itself takes on a power of its own. I love being in spiritual community. I've dedicated my life to helping people and organizations build spiritual community. That's how important I think it is. And it's extra important right now when we're not physically together, when we're connecting through the airwaves and various media platforms. It's so important to remember to create opportunity for real connection with others. We want to make sure that we don't surround ourselves with fearful people. And it's also important to know, as you discern about your spiritual friends, that everyone in your life does not have to be on a spiritual path with you. That's very important. In Unity, we rely on attraction. We don't proselytize. We do very little promoting. We believe that the right and perfect people are attracted to the message that we have to give. So we don't abandon our friends and our families. We don't quit our jobs. We continue living in the lives that we've created. But we do the inner work to answer the call to be in spiritual journey. And we create spiritual friends that are in new circles outside of those circles that we have come to rely upon. We respect that each person will hear the call of the divine in a language that each can understand and hear. Let me say that again. We respect that each person will hear the call of the divine in a language that each can understand and hear. So we don't have to fix anyone. We don't have to save anyone. We don't have to convert anyone. We simply create spiritual space and allow the divine to unfold. We're all on a path to know God. I believe that we all are on our own path. Now, I may not understand some people's paths, but everyone's on his own path. And eventually we will all complete our journey back to God. So we're all on this quest, but some of us are progressing faster than others. And it's a whole lot more fun if we can identify and invite other people of spiritual mind to join us on our path. The old sailor's adage says that the high tide raises all boats. As you join in spiritual community, may you rise to a higher level of spiritual awareness in your life. Let's take time for a moment of reflection and meditation. We pause to breathe. Right where you are, breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. Slowly, with relaxation. If you are where you can safely close your eyes, I invite you to do that. And sweet spirit, tonight we join in heart, mind, and spirit. We pause in the busyness of our lives for reflection. We create an open, sacred space. We dig in the soil of spiritual awareness. We know that we can only grow through our experience with you. So we open our minds and we open our hearts to invite deeper understanding. Tonight we affirm, I seek and find supportive friends for my spiritual journey. I seek and find supportive friends for my spiritual journey. Repeat that again. I seek and find supportive friends for my spiritual journey. As we breathe into this sacred creative space, please remember there is no one like you in the entire history of the universe. You are unique. You are unique in your genetic code. You're unique in your thought pattern. You're unique in your awareness and in your spiritual aspirations. So just pause to acknowledge the preciousness that is you. You are also a very social creature, and you are a spiritual being. You grow best when surrounded by people who celebrate your spiritual journey. It is time for you to plant yourself into the spiritual soil that's composed of like-minded people. I seek and find supportive friends for my spiritual journey. Just pause and reflect as you open your mind and open your heart to what that might mean for you today. In Proverbs, it is written, as iron shapes iron, so one man sharpens another. From this place of connection with Spirit, let us express our love for others in this prayer time. We pray with compassion and send forth unconditional love for all humanity on this planet. With gratitude and blessing, we release these words to the highest and the best outworking. We are grateful. And so it is. Thank you for joining me here for Take a Spiritual Journey, where we take basic new thought principles and learn to apply them in our lives, one step at a time. We'd like to take this time to bless your financial good. We have a special offertory blessing that we say at Unity of Gainesville, and we invite you to say that blessing with us. Just place your hands over your heart and repeat this with passion and purpose. Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I choose to give and all that I am open to receive. I give in love and receive in abundance. Thank you, God. I am so blessed. If we were meeting in physical class together this evening, we would have an opportunity to pass the offering basket so that you could have an opportunity to give as you may have been spiritually fed. If you have been blessed in any way by this message tonight, please use the Give Plus text number on your screen. You simply type that number in the address line of your text function and type the amount you wish to give in the message line. The number to text is 833-987-2047. You'll be walked through the prompts of this secure service to make a donation of any size that support these broadcasts and the physical campus of Unity of Gainesville. We appreciate each gift. If you're more comfortable, you can donate at unityofgainesville.org. Join me tomorrow for Spiritual Community on Tea and Talk at noon on Zoom. We'll break down these ideas, and you get an opportunity to share what you think of the value of spiritual friendship. If you don't have the Zoom login, message me on Facebook for credentials or email me at revrobinvolker@gmail.com. Rev, R-E-V, Robin Volker @gmail.com. Then Sunday, join me right here in my home studio for Sunday morning. This message this week will be Magnify Good, Magnify God. This is the last in the Meet It with Faith series that we have been sharing during our sheltering in place experience. Faith gives us what we expect, faith gives us life, and faith gives us transcendence. So I hope you'll join me for those points. Now let us close with our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. I trust that that is true for you. Wherever you are, God is. I know that that is true, and that all is well with you. Thanks for being on this spiritual journey with me. I'll see you soon. God bless.